Well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for attending, and I do believe that we have all of our board members that we expected present here this evening. And also with us, we do have two participants joining us via Zoom. So at this time, Mr. Schreiber, I'll turn things over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Kreider. I will call to order the December 22nd, 2020 meeting of the Carlynton School District Board of Directors. Let's do a pledge of allegiance, and unless someone objects, Mr. Jeswick, we have you for a limited time. So can we make good use of you while we still have you?
Sure.
Awesome. Will you lead us?
Sure. I pledge
allegiance to the flag
Of the
of the United States of America,
and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Chris. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Good evening. Director Simsek,
Here,
Director Zaletsky,
I don't believe she's able to make it tonight.
Director Mendoza,
here,
Director O'Brien,
here,
Director Pushkar,
here,
Director Frank,
Here.
Director Apple,
Here.
and Director Schreiber.
Here. There's a portion of our meeting at the beginning where we invite members of the public to ask any questions or comment on any items on our agenda. Dr. Kreider, do we have anyone tonight looking to ask anything about agenda items this evening?
At this time, there are no hands raised. If anyone joining us this evening would like to make a comment, if you would, just please raise your hand using the icon at the bottom of your screen, and we'll be happy to allow you to speak. And I do not see anybody wishing to speak at this time.
Very good. Then we can proceed. Since we did not have an executive session today, I don't have anything to report regarding an executive session, so I'll turn to Dr. Kreider for a superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Schreiber. Yes, just a brief report tonight. On tonight's agenda, there is a list of members of the SCA unit that are up for furlough. Taking action to furlough at this time is a difficult decision. However, due to the pandemic and providing remote instruction for our students, it's a necessary action. The members of the unit work very hard. They're generally a part of our cafeteria and also serve as playground aides. They're a valued part of our district, valued part of our team, and we appreciate everything that they do for our students. Once we're able to provide in-person learning to our students, we look forward to recalling those members back to the team. Also this evening is Mr. Jeswick's last meeting with us as far as with Carlynton School District. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Jeswick for all of the work that he has completed, for his leadership in the business office, for all that he has accomplished over the past several years while he's been with the district. He's made some very difficult decisions at times, but has always made decisions that have been in the best interest of our school district. And we appreciate his service, and we wish him all the best as he transitions to South Fayette School District. So, Mr. Jeswick, thank you very much for all you've done for the Carlynton School District.
Thank you and the district and the board and everybody I've worked with at Carlynton. Thank you very much.
And that's all I have for my superintendent's report for tonight. Mr. Schreiber, thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Dr. Kreider. And I will echo your comments about Chris, and I'm sure the rest of the board will too. If anyone else wants to comment, feel free. But Chris, you've been a great asset, a great partner to us, and we wish you luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you. And like I said, everybody's been I gave my long spiel at a meeting about a month ago. And like I said, everybody's been great to work with. And if the district ever needed anything from my end, I'm more than happy. if anybody would ever reach out or need anything, I'm more than happy. And I'll, with one of our people on the agenda tonight, I'll work with him as best as I can to make sure that individual fits right in at Carlynton.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris.
I just wanted to say he's all right, I guess. No, Chris knows. I think I've been always very clear about how amazing I think he's been with the district. I'm glad he came on board when he did, and he's really moved a lot on a lot of our mission and our vision. And I'm glad that we have a new candidate that there's confidence in, that we can continue all our endeavors with everything we're doing with Carlynton. So thank you, Chris.
Thanks. Moving on to the next section of our meeting, under section 3 miscellaneous, I'll entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the district and the SCA collective bargaining unit as entered into December 21st, 2020, as presented. Do I have a motion for that item?
So moved.
Moved. Do I have a
Second.
second? Thank you very much. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Under section 4 personnel, two items, two very different items. The first one, I'll entertain a motion to approve both of them. To approve and to appoint Keith Bilby to the administrative position of Director of Fiscal Affairs and Budget, a 12-month position under the terms of the contract agreement at a starting prorated salary of $94,000 commencing on or about February 22nd, 2021. And then number 2, approve the furlough of Class 4 cafeteria and lunchroom playground aides within the SCA collective bargaining unit, effective December 16th, 2020, and subject to recall. I have a motion for those 2 items.
So moved.
Moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joe. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And Keith, or actually, Dr. Kreider, do you want to welcome Keith?
Yes, absolutely. We're very pleased to bring Mr. Bilby on board with us as the Director of Fiscal Affairs and Budget. He is with us here this evening, and Mr. Bilby, if you're able to raise your hand, I should be able to call on you if you'd like to make a quick comment. Okay, Mr. Bilby, you are unmuted at this time. You should be able to speak, but Mr. Bilby joins us with a wealth of experience. He has over 12 years of experience in some local school districts, serving in a variety of capacities, brings a wealth of knowledge to the district. And we believe he'll be a very strong asset to the district as we move forward through both these challenging times. And as we start to move beyond into future school years, we look forward to his leadership in the business office. So Mr. Bilby, welcome to Carlynton School District.
Thank you, Dr. Kreider and Mr. Shriver and everyone else on the board. I just want to take a moment right now to thank everyone for their support. And I really am looking forward to this opportunity. I'm excited about it. I know it's challenging, but if we all work together as a team, I think we're going to be able to, continue to move Carlynton forward and be able to, keep growing on, what my predecessor had done. And like I said, I can't wait to get started and meeting everyone in person. And I just want to say that I hope you all have a very safe and happy holiday season, and I'll see you soon.
Great. Thank you, Keith.
Congrats,
Welcome.
Keith.
Thank you, everybody.
So moving into section 5, we have budget discussion listed for our section 5. Either Dr. Kreider or Treasurer Frank, do you guys have any comments you'd like to lead in the conversation around budget?
I have nothing at this time. Mr. Frank, I don't know if you were going to say something.
No, I don't have anything to add. I mean, we put together a preliminary schedule and we'll work on that as we kind of transition transition, from from Chris to Keith, but I think we're good for now. I don't have anything to talk about right now.
And we'll come up with a transition plan that I'll be able to share as far as the plans that we have moving forward to do a strong transition between both Mr. Jeswick and Mr. Bilby as we move into the month of January, and then as the expectation of February 22nd starts to approach.
And I can add on, all the departments have gotten in their budgets. So far, I think we're a little bit, we have one more budget just waiting to get in, but that person said they completed. They just didn't send it over to me yet. So we will have a framework all together. We'll make sure it's put into the PD system and such. And like Dr. Kreider says, he will reveal a plan soon.
Excellent. And Dr. Kreider, we have some financial decisions we need to make in January regarding taxes in the state and such as that. So we'll be prepared to do that in January then?
Yes, absolutely. We'll be able to follow the schedule that Mr. Frank had alluded to. We'll follow the state guided metrics that they have in place as far as timelines to put in place. So we're prepared to meet all the deadlines, even during the interim transition here.
Okay, great. Any other board questions on budget before we move on? No, all right. Under section 6, old business, does any director have any old business they would like to bring up? One of the conversations we had at a previous meeting was around the impact that the COVID has had on all of our students and our staff, our administrative team, and I know every district is struggling through that topic and trying to do the best that they can in a very difficult situation. Is there anybody that wants to continue that conversation now, or do we want to wait until January to have any further conversation?
Well, we did talk about having a brainstorming session and trying to get together and determine how we're going to meet the needs of our families. So I'm still interested in doing that. I don't know if right now is the right time. I'm not prepared at this moment, but I would like for us to pursue that.
Understood, Chris. Yep, agreed.
Yeah, I agree with Chris. If we're gonna, it really comes down to how long are we looking at being remote. If it turns out that we're gonna be remote for an extended period of time, even going into January, February, into the spring, I think we really need to talk about ways that the school district can help make that more doable for a lot of families using the resources that we do have. So, but I don't know that we need to have that conversation now.
I believe that Dr. Manich is also working on a plan as far as moving forward. As we move through the remainder of the school year, we also take a look at gaps in learning, gaps in instruction, some of those areas that we were concerned about at the end of last year and coming into this year, and putting together a plan that we look forward to implementing in the event that we need to provide remediation for any of our students, whether it's special education or regular education students, and what that looks like, whether we have plans for during the school year remediation and being able to recover coursework during the school year, and then also extending that also into the summer months as well, which we definitely know that we'll do for COVID compensatory services through our special education department. But we'll also look to put some strategies in place for regular education students as well to help bridge those gaps that have been created by just the very difficult situation of providing instruction during this time.
Good.
Has there been any indication that the state may suspend PSSAs again this year?
There is some indication. The state did pass some legislation that will allow them to petition the federal government to waive that requirement of having keystones and PSSAs administered to students. What the state has already done at this time is they have released that from making it a graduation requirement until the class of 2023. However, they did not release us from having to issue those keystones and PSSAs to the students in the spring. So at this time, we're still required to provide the exam to the students. However, the pre-work that the state has done will allow them to petition the federal government, and that's what it more or less the overseeing of the Every Child Succeeds Act, as far as those requirements for testing students, that's still in place. So that will most likely be pushed off to the Biden administration, and whether or not they take quick and swift action on that will be yet to come. So we should learn some more information towards the end of January, early February. Dr. Manich, anything you wanted to provide on that end as well, as far as the assessments?
No, that pretty much summed it up. Like I said, the whole thing is the federal government not waiving the ESSA requirements, and the fact that the state still has the graduation requirements still in place for the graduation years. So they still look at our current 10th graders and our current 9th graders, who still need to have all 5 pathways made available to them, which 2 of those 5 pathways are the Keystone exams. So until they're more definitive on what their guidelines are and what their regulations are going to be, we're going to kind of move forward as we have been until we've been told otherwise.
Which makes sense. John, is there going to be plans put in place or investigations done in January for those who are seniors who are planning on graduating, and the impact of the COVID on their graduation status or potential graduation status?
Yeah, so we plan to take a look, just as we did at the end of the first quarter. We plan to take a look at semester scores as far as where each of our students are performing. If there are any students in the senior class who are looking to graduate and are demonstrating some deficiencies to this point in the school year, we'll have some type of action plan in place to help them move through the process. But I think it's very important that we still hold our students to high standards as far as acquiring all the skills from the coursework. As many of our courses build upon each other, it's very important to acquire those skills now as we move in from sequential coursework to be successful at the next level. So yeah, we'll have some plans in place to work with any students who meet that criteria.
Okay, great. You mentioned potential summer work. Is that I know it's early, but is that a possible avenue to help remediate?
Yes. So we're looking at a couple of different methods to go through and provide that instruction, not knowing whether or not we'll be able to do face-to-face in-person instruction even in the summer, whether that would still be online coursework. I'd prefer it to be in person to make up for the gaps that have been created by remote instruction. So yeah, I think the most ideal situation would be to have in-person, face-to-face coursework available to our students, especially in some of our core content areas that are sequential and that are connected to assessments through the state program as well.
Okay, great. And I guess a related question, I know it's very early in the process, but have we heard anything from the state about vaccines being made available for our teaching staff and our administrative staff?
We received information from Allegheny County Health Department, and then also from the Allegheny IU as well. Right now, the IU is working in coordination with Allegheny County Health Department. They're collecting data as far as each of the school districts in Allegheny County to determine the number of teachers, the number of support staff, the number of third-party carriers, for example, with transportation, collecting those numbers just to determine how many vaccines we would potentially need across the entire Allegheny County so that they could prepare for that. As of now, educators, and that term educator will be broadly defined to reach to basically anybody who works in a schoolhouse, teachers, administrators, custodians, maintenance workers, bus drivers, everybody who has direct connection with our students. So looking at them being identified as class 1B, and at this time rolling out with the both the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines that have been presented. We will look to see how long it will take to get that level 1 through that 1A group until they start moving into 1B. I would expect potentially in early spring would be the time when it would start to hit educators. But that's the part that we're going through, and we'll work to have plans together so that individuals on our staff who are interested in getting the vaccination would have that available to them.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Any other director have any topics along that line or any other old business they want to discuss?
A question related to this topic and related to budgets too. And that's that I'm seeing data from, national data that suggests that parents held their children back from entering kindergarten. And so this next year of kindergarten at some schools may end up being a real bubble of a year as students who should have gone into kindergarten in the fall of 2020 enter in the fall of 2021. Do we have any data on this year's kindergarten class in Carlynton schools and whether it's substantially smaller than we expected? And then what are we thinking about ways to prepare for that slightly larger class next year, potentially?
Yeah, I don't have the data directly in front of me as far as our kindergarten enrollment. I can probably quickly search it. I have it in one of my files as far as what our enrollment is. I don't think that we saw a substantial decrease in the number of kindergartners enrolled this year. However, in general, I think you bring up a very valid point with being able to prepare for next year, just with the scheduling process. And that goes back to our previous conversation with success levels at individual students, a child not reaching the skills required to move from 4th grade to 5th grade, or a student not reaching the skills to move from Algebra 1 to Algebra 2. Those are huge issues that we have when we go through the scheduling process, not knowing where students will be. Generally, we have a pretty good projection in March and April when we start the scheduling process to really refine it. So that will also complicate matters with scheduling as well. But I will definitely research that and I'll shoot that out to the board as far as what our enrollment numbers are in kindergarten this year compared to the last 2-3 years as far as enrollment. But I can definitely get you this year's very quickly.
Thank you, John. That's good. Good question, Susie. Any other director have any questions or comments under this topic? If not, we'll move on to new business. Any director have any new business they want to bring up? If not, we'll transition to open forum. Dr. Kreider, anyone on the Zoom call that has any open forum questions for us?
And once again, if you wish to make a comment, there is a comment feature at the bottom of the screen. If you wish to speak, you can just raise your hand. And at this time, Mr. Shriver, I do not see anyone who has their hand raised.
Okay. Board member, any open forum questions that anyone has? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.